Hey, what's up addicted? Welcome back to the 99. I'm Chiki, and in this 7th episode we are smashing our artifacts in our opponent's faces. This is Artifacts Blow Up. Our commander is Bosch Iron Golem. Even if it's a colorless artifact, its identity is red because of its activation cost in its ability. So this is a mono red deck. The ability says that paying 3 and a red and sacrificing an artifact, Bosch deals damage to any target equals to the artifact's converted mana cost. To exploit Bosch's ability, the deck is based around heavy cost artifacts and lots of artifact interactions. The plan? To use Bosch's ability to kill our opponents. The idea of the game is to drop high cost artifacts to blow them up. So, starting from higher cost to lowest, Draco wins. To be honest, we don't care about anything else except its 16 mana cost. Then we have the 11th cost creatures, Mycosynth Golem, Metalwork Colossus and Darksteel Colossus. From them, the hardest to cast is the Darksteel Colossus, as the other two have built-in cost reduction. From 11 we drop to 9, where we have Darksteel Forge, very useful against removal and some nice 9 damages to our opponent. Then Aladdin's Ring with 8, and if we have infinite mana and infinite untaps as we are going to see later, this is also infinite damage if we don't have Bosch in play. With 7 we have a Spine of Ish Sah, Myr Battlefield, Pentabus and Sandstorm Oracle, each of them useful in their own way. Dropping to 6 we have a Sculpting Doom Engine, which basically deals 12 damage instead of 6 from Bosch and 6 from itself. Combustible Hulk for the draw, because with so many high cost cards in the deck, I doubt that an opponent will choose to mill you. If they do, that's a lot of damage, so it's a win-win. The Immortal Sun is very useful, so I wouldn't recommend it to blow it unless it's for the kill. Then Staff of Nin grants us an extra card and also a damage by tapping it. Serpent Generator creates a 1/1 snake that gives poison counters. Salvaging Station gives us a combo that we will see later on. And finally, Dreamstone Hedron is a mana rock. On the 6, the only one I recommend to blow up is Origin Nexus, as it deals 5 damage with Bosch and also gives us an extra turn. Besides that one, and Sonic Simulacrum, which is a very useful creature that ramp us and give us roam, I wouldn't recommend to blow us up with 5 or less converted mana cost, unless that gives us a kill. If we can one-shot someone, we're aiming to do that. High costs are cool, but doubling the damage is better. Dictate of the Twin Gods, Furnace of Wrath, and Gratuitous Violence doubles the damage, while Kurkesh Onaki Ancient let us pay 1 red to copy an activated ability for an artifact if it's not mana. So with Bosch, it's basically 5 mana to deal double damage. And we also play Illusionist Bracers to copy the ability. Note that sacrificing the artifact is part of the cost, so you will have the effect twice for the artifact you sacrifice, instead of sacrificing 2 artifacts each time you activate an ability that you copy. And if you really want to give one shot to anyone, give Infect Bosch with Grafted Exoskeleton, and that's mostly a win. Once we slap all artifacts to our opponent's faces, we need them back in order to repeat the action. Nim Deathmantle let us pay 4 and return a creature that dies from our graveyard to the battlefield. This has a nice combo too that we will see later on, but for now keep in mind that it helps out to revive creatures. Goblin Welder exchanges an artifact from our graveyard with one on the battlefield. A Scarecrow reanimates an artifact creature and he can sacrifice himself to draw a card. Dareti, a Scrap Savant with its -2, makes us sacrifice an artifact to bring one from the graveyard to play. Transfer Treasure does the same as Dareti's -2. And finally, Scrap Mastery is a living death for artifacts. Each player exiles all the artifacts they control, returns all the artifacts in their graveyard to the battlefield, and then put all the exiled artifacts in the graveyard. As I mentioned, we have several combos here. You can mix and match some of the pieces. We're going to start with the basics, so we're going to start with infinite mana. For the first one, we need Krark-Clan Ironworks, and that's how, I think in both, that's how we get the infinite mana. The first version uses Flayer Husk and Salvaging Station. You can also include Sword of the Meek and Clock of Omens for infinite untaps. Clock of Omens is one of the best cards in the deck. I won't explain all the interaction with this one, but as long as you have 2 untapped artifacts, you can tap them to untap another artifact. So if you manage to get untapped artifacts, be it reanimating like you're the Sword of the Myc, or maybe creating tokens and using them to untap something else, it will be pretty useful, and in early game it's really good. Anyway, continuing with the combo, you need to sacrifice the Flayer Husk to add 2 mana. Then activate the station, bringing the Husk back. As it enters with a token, the station untaps, and you're ready to repeat. The second variant uses Mirror Battlesphere and Nim Deathmantle. When you cast the sphere, you create 4 tokens. Sacrifice one of them and the sphere to add 4 mana. When the sphere dies, the mantle triggers. You pay those 4 mana and get the sphere back, creating 4 new tokens, so you now have 7 tokens and you are ready to repeat. We can also exchange the Mirror Battlesphere with the Pentabus. This one only needs 1 mana to start it off, and it's a little bit slower as you need to drain the Pentabus to 1 counter before sacrificing it, but it still works, and it will give us 1 pentabyte to keep each time we do it. The first thing we need in order to be able to cast the high cost artifacts is to accelerate and reduce costs. We'll start with mana rocks: Basalt Monolith, Dreamstone Hedron, Everflowing Chalice, Fire Diamond, Gilded Lotus, Heart of Ramos, Hedron Archive, Mana Vault, Sol Ring, Thran Dynamo, Unstable Obelisk, Golem Sai, and Worn Powerstone. All of them are here for the mana, and we also use the Iron Myr and Palladium Myr for that. Blinkmoth Urn also helps us generate a lot of mana. It helps our opponents too, but we usually are going to have more artifacts than them, so it's better for us. Cloud Key, Semblance Anvil, Stone Calendar, the Immortal Sun, Thunder Spectre, and Mycosynth Golem reduces the cost of our artifacts, but the Golem only affects the creatures, so you have to keep that in mind. Then for the lands we run 21 basic mountains, Darksteel Citadel and Great Furnace because they are artifacts, Forgotten Cave and Smoldering Crater for cycling, Balakut to deal extra damage, Rogue's Passage in case we need to attack, but it will also help us if an opponent is trying to kill another opponent and we just let the doors open for the hit. Temple of the False God is here for the extra mana, Terrain Generator accelerates us, and finally, Tomb of the Spirit Dragon. With the infinite mana combos, we can create infinite tokens, and that means infinite life with this land. For the ramp, we mentioned already Terrain Generator. We run Mycosynth Wellspring, which searches for a land to our hand when it enters and when it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield. And Solemn Simulacrum, we mentioned it already, that searches for a land and put it in the top. For control, we play Spine of Ish Sah, which with Krark-Clan Ironworks and infinite mana, it's a win, because it lets us destroy any permanent when it enters, and also it's 7 damage with Bosch that returns to hand. Besides Spine of Ish Sah, we run Unstable Obelisk, we mentioned it is mana rock, but with 7 mana, it lets us destroy any permanent. To draw, we play Dreamstone Hedron and Hedron Archive, which sacrifices themselves for cards. Solemn Simulacrum when it dies. Ichor Wellspring does the same as the other Wellspring, but this one gives us a card instead of a land. Both Staff of Nin and the Immortal Sun give us a card during our upkeep. Tower Fortunes give us 4 cards for 8 mana. And if we spend a red from Kurkesh, that means we can have 8 cards from 9 mana. Combustible Journhawk and Scarecrow, as we mentioned. Sandstorm Oracle replenishes our hand if an opponent has more cards than us. And finally, Directives plus 2 let us discard 2 cards, usually artifacts, and then withdraw that many cards. For protection, we mentioned already Darksteel Forge, which give our artifacts indestructible, and the Immortal Sun locks down Planeswalker, and we have to be careful here because it shuts down our Directivity too, so yeah, just keep that in mind. We still have some artifacts to cover. Mirage Mirror let us copy anything we need basically. Double damage to quadruple damage? Check. Double mana from the Blinkmoth Urn? Check. The extra 16 damage needed? Check. It also transforms into anything our opponents have, so it's pretty versatile. Mirrorworks let us pay 2 when an artifact enters our control and we get a token. As the token is a copy of the artifact, it has the same converted mana cost, and Bosch can blow it up too. Sculpting Steel enters as a copy of any artifact. Unwinding Clock untaps our artifacts during our opponent's untap steps, so we can kill them during their upkeep. And finally, Voltaic Key let us pay 1 to untap an artifact. For the creatures, Copper Gnomes let us cheat any artifact into play by paying for mana and sacrificing it. Kuldotha Forgemaster sacrifices 3 artifacts to search for any artifact in our library and put it into play. Finally, Shimmer Mirror let us cast the artifact with flash, just in case. We don't have to rely only on Vosh to do the job, that's why we play Heretic's Punishment. For the same cost of Vosh's ability, it reveals the top 3 cards of our library, and deal damage to target creature or player equal to the highest CMC among them. Then they'll go to the graveyard. We also play Land's Edge to discard cards. If the card is a land, it deals 2 damage. This is great if we need to discard anything to reanimate it later, but note that this helps our opponents too. Besides, it helps to remove the lands for the next card, which is Pyromancy, which makes us pay 3 and discard a card at random to deal its converted mana cost damage to a creature or player. So if our hand is full of high cost artifacts, it's just a win. Our only miscellaneous card is Saheeli's Directive, which is a Genesis wave with improvise for artifacts. You pay X and 3 reds and reveal the top X cards of your library, put all artifacts with cost X or less from among them on the battlefield, and the rest go to your graveyard. And that's how we blow our artifacts and kill our opponents. This deck is really consistent even with only 30 lands. If people don't play carefully, once the Bosch hits the ground, they can get one shot at any moment. It's pretty common for the deck to deal at least 22 damage from a Bosch activation, but usually it's much more than that, and if Bosch gets infect, it's a win in most of the cases. And with all the graveyard recursion, only exile effects are what really worries us. And this is all I have for you today. If you liked the video, don't forget to click the like and subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when I upload videos, which is normally on Wednesdays. Follow me on social media, the links are in the description, as well as the deck list if you want to check it out. Thank you for watching and see you next week.